It is time now for our political roundtable. Today we have Republican strategist Deanna Harris. Right now, she serves as managing partner at Midnight Rider Consulting. She is also a member of the Conservative Policy Leadership Institute Alumni Board. And also joining us, Sabbak, Assistant Vice President of McGuire Woods Consulting and former Executive Director of the Georgia House Democratic Caucus. We just heard from Governor Brian Kemp there. Fal, I want to start with you. Are all the conversations about who may challenge Senator Jon Ossoff in 2026 starting with Governor Brian Kemp?
Yes. People, we've been seeing folks kind of lining up on the Republican side saying, well, we're going to wait to see what Governor Kemp does or what he doesn't do, and then decide if they want to jump in and run against Senator Ossoff. Right. So that's really the starting point, is what is the governor going to do? Deanna,
you're a Republican strategist. Is Governor Brian Kemp the first draft choice for most Republican strategists?
Of course he is. And actually, he's recently met with the majority Senate leader and the chair of the Senate Republican Committee. And so wondering what those conversations were like, of course, but we would hope so. That would be a really good matchup. And we would love to have that win, of course.
What factors do you think he is weighing? Because you saw Faith ask that question. He's been asked it in other interviews recently, too, and he still hasn't given an affirmative thumbs up or thumbs down yet. What is he weighing right now?
I'm guessing it would be between, am I going to be a U.S. Senator or U.S. President?
You think that's what he's mulling right now? Those are big races.
I've heard people say that, for sure.
Fal, I have heard from strategists both on the Democratic and the Republican side that Senator Jon Ossoff's seat it was described by another frequent panelist, Stephen Lawson, on the show earlier this week. He said that seat has a big red circle drawn around it. Republicans really want to flip that seat. Mm-hmm. Democrats really want to hold on to it. What's the strategy for Democrats to keep Jon Ossoff in the Senate?
I mean, I think, look, we have a new president, or it's kind of new president, coming up in the midterms. The disapproval rate is growing by the day. We are seeing cuts left and right. We just saw cuts to the CDC. Folks are losing their federal positions. And I think that riding that wave, I think Senator Ossoff has a good argument to make to people to say, look, this is the work that I've been doing in Congress or in the U.S. Senate. This is the work that I can continue to do, and this is the work that I can continue to deliver to Georgians.
On the other side, Deanna, Republicans, what do you expect to be the main themes of the challengers campaign, whoever that might be, if it's Governor Kemp or somebody else who emerges to try to flip that seat Jon Ossoff currently occupies and turn it Republican?
Right, so I'm guessing when you say challengers, this is just for a primary purpose, right? We'll start there. Most folks are going to want to ride that Trump wave and do the cuts and, speak about lowering the cuts in the budget as well. And so those are some of the things that Republican voters really like. I don't think they have a problem with things that President Trump are doing. So that's something they would want to attach onto for the primary, but maybe bring it back to the center a little bit when it comes to the state of Georgia, when it comes to that general election, right? So the things that Governor Kemp has done, like his recent signing of the $1 million tax rebate for lots of Georgians where they get up to $500 back in their state taxes. That's a big win for him. And I think that's something that he can really ride into the sunset with and use that as a good moment for him.
We've got about 20 seconds. You talk about that distinction between the primary and then the general election, because those are different things. Fal, I want to ask you this. Is it the goal, is it the hope of Democrats that Governor Kemp doesn't jump into this race and then Republicans have to have a more contentious primary battle inside of their own party?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be the ideal scenario. I think ultimately, like Deanna said earlier, if Governor Kemp does decide to jump in, I do think it is still a 50-50 race. I do not believe that it's going to be a 60-40 kind of runaway train one way or another. So, I mean, going through a primary process, yeah, it's certainly going to be a strong test for whoever's going to get out in the general.
Val, I'm so sorry. I got to jump in
Yeah.
here. But that's good news because we have so much to talk about, and we're not done on the panel. Stay with us. We will be right back after this. This is a perfect time to bring back in our political experts, Deanna Harris, Sabbak. Deanna, I want to start with you. There's all this conversation, all this talk about the ongoing federal workforce cuts inspired by the Department of Government Efficiency. There are questions about funding for certain programs within the Medicare and Medicaid space. You heard Congressman Loudermilk give his views on that. There's a lot of cutting, a lot of talk of cutting happening right now. Do Republicans see this as a winning issue?
So I think that mostly if it's a primary cut, it's a winning, if it's a cut for the primary elections, yes, that's a winning issue. But as the congressman stated, we don't want to make those changes and cuts to the individuals who do need it. Now, as far as DOGE goes, they have been finding fraud and the things like illegal immigrants receiving the Medicaid or Medicare that they shouldn't, right? And those are funds that could, go to the individuals who do need that assistance. I think in Georgia, we're doing a great job on making sure the ones who need it receive it. So that wouldn't be an issue that we would have here, but I see how it could be in other states like California.
What's the Democrats' perspective on all of this?
Look, when you have a house and you have like a room that needs something fixed in it, you don't burn down the whole house just to fix that one room.
Right.
And so I think that's what the talking point on the Democratic side is. When you're moving so quickly and making all these cuts, and should there be studies done to? Sure, absolutely. Talk about the fraud and waste and everything. But to go out and say, well, this program just needs to be cut all across the board, I mean, that's something that's not going to resonate very well with voters across the general electorate.
Do you think elected Democrats are getting that message across enough to voters right now?
I think they're starting to lay the groundwork for it. I think that one of the good and bad things about this administration is that there's so much to touch on. And so I think now is the time to really lay the groundwork on these cuts are happening. They're hurting real people, everyday people. Because, we're seeing in these town hall meetings, Republicans who are upset at the Republican elected officials saying, this is the system that we paid into and we're paying for. Why are we not?
And let's end with this. Deanna, last word to you. You mentioned the town halls. We just saw Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's town hall earlier this week in Ackworth. It got a little rowdy.
Right.
Deanna, is that good for the party or bad for the party?
Well, those things happen, right? And that's just the way that it goes sometimes. And she's in a new district, a new area. Ackworth wasn't previously a part of her district, where some of the folks from the 14th are a little bit more far right, because I've even been drawn into her district as well. And so you'll get some of those little responses, but I think it's just a part of the process.
A part of the process that involved tasers this time. That we don't see so often.
Got a little rough.
A lot going on in Georgia politics. As always, so much to talk to and talk about.